Shoot, that doesn't work. Oh God. Okay, yeah, that's a lot better. Okay. Hi everyone, thanks again for joining me for another episode of DxTx. I'm your host Sahan and Safi, and this week we're going to be talking about masks and how to wear them properly. In our previous episode we talked a little bit about masks, what the hype was about, what masks are for, how you can protect yourself as well as others by wearing masks. But unfortunately over the last few weeks, given that our numbers are going up, I've actually been surprised to see the number of people that struggle to wear their masks appropriately, whether that be in the emergency department or just out in the community when we're walking around. It's really frustrating to see. So I was motivated to make this video to show people how you should be wearing your masks. As you guys saw in the beginning of my video, there's a lot of people that we see that are walking around with their noses hanging out of their masks. So when they put their mask on, it's not that they're covering their nose and their mouth, which is what you're supposed to cover when you're wearing a mask, but instead their nose continues to hang out the top of the mask. If you're doing this, it's kind of pointless. Anytime you breathe through your nose, your mask is really not doing anything. So please, when you're wearing your mask, make sure your nose is nice and covered. The next thing I've been seeing a lot of is the mask on the chin technique. Again, another big pet peeve that drives a lot of us nuts whenever we're walking around. If you're out in a crowded environment, please put your mask on. Leave it on your face. You don't want to keep touching your mask over and over again, covering your nose, covering your mouth, because every time you're touching your face, the risk of contaminating yourself, contaminating the inside of the mask, is high. So really, you want to keep the mask on properly. You want to keep your face covered. If you don't need to wear the mask, take the mask off entirely, as opposed to slow moving it down and covering your chin. And oftentimes what I find happens is when you're wearing it on the chin, you just get comfortable. You forget that it's there. You're in a store, the mask is still on your chin. You're in an elevator, the mask is on your chin. Again, it's pointless. Just like the nose sticking out of the mask, this is not the way the mask should be worn. Please make sure your nose and your mouth are covered. So that takes me to the final point of how do you wear your mask properly? How do you put on a mask properly? And we're going to walk through a few of these techniques. Step one, you need to sanitize your hands. Make sure you have sanitizer or a sink and some soap, and wash your hands before you put your mask on. This is especially true when you're not in your home leaving to go out, but you're already outside and you're putting your mask on, and let's say before you're going into a grocery store. Make sure your hands are clean, because again, you're going to be touching your face as you put the mask on, and you want to make sure that your hands are not contaminated and dirty. Okay, so now you've completed step one, your hands are clean, and you can move on to the next step, which is grabbing your mask. Now for this step, whether you have a reusable mask or a disposable mask, the technique stays the same. Your hands are clean, so you're okay to touch the surface of your mask, but I still recommend you try to avoid touching the inside of your mask as much as possible. Remember that this inner surface is going to be the area that comes in contact with your mouth, your nose, and so if you didn't sanitize properly or whatever, you just want to try to keep that area as clean as possible. So I, at this point, will still grab my mask by the ear loops. I will take that inner surface, put my nose into the mask, put the loops over my ear, and then adjust the nose and the chin so that it's fitting snugly on my face. As you can see, my nose is not hanging out of the mask, and the mask is not resting on my chin. Okay, so some of you guys are thinking, well, what the hell? It's hot outside. I'm wearing my mask. I want to take it off when I'm walking outside, but I don't want to crumple it up, so I'm just gonna leave it on my chin. What do I do if I want to take my mask off? It is a little bit complicated. Remember, your chin and the area on your neck is still exposed to some degree. So every time you're shifting your mask down, that inner surface of your mask could be coming in contact with areas that are contaminated and will then defeat the purpose of wearing a mask altogether. So, what I recommend is that if you're getting to the point where you want to take your mask off, if you're in an area where your mask is relatively protected and you have a clean surface, just take your mask off by holding the ear loops, remove it off of your face, and you can put it
with that front surface down on to the surface that you're going to be leaving your mask in. So you can see in this particular instance, the mask, the outer surface is resting on the outside environment, on the surface of this table. The inner surface is still protected. So now if I wanted to rewear this mask, I would just grab it by the ear loops. And once I've grabbed it by the ear loops, I'll grab the second ear loop, place my chin into the mask, place it again over my nose. Remember, your hands are clean at this point because you should have sanitized again before putting the mask on. And then I adjust the nose piece and I'm ready to go again. Okay, so let's say that you're out and about and it's not an option for you to leave your mask on a table or on a clean surface with the face up so that it doesn't get contaminated. What are some of your other options?
In my opinion, in these scenarios, one of the best options I think that we have available is using a Ziploc bag. So similar to the previous step, I'll grab my mask by the ear loops. I will remove it from my face. And once it's removed, you can fold the mask so that that inner surface is just touching itself, right? Remember that that inner surface is clean. Once you fold the mask onto itself, I'll grab a Ziploc bag and I'll place the mask into the Ziploc bag, at which point I can then put it on the ground, on another surface, or usually put it in a backpack or something that we have with us to carry around until I need to use it again. Once you're ready to use the mask again, remember, sanitize your hands. Hands are cleaned. You can grab your bag, open it up, grab your mask by the ear loops, pull it out of the Ziploc, open it up again, flip it so that it's oriented correctly, cover your face with the mask, and then the final step, sanitize your hands once more, because again, remember, it's hard to know what the ear loops have been in contact with. And so you want to make sure that your hands are clean. So sanitize before putting your mask on, put your mask on, make sure that your face is covered, that your nose, your mouth are covered, that it's not riding on your chin or your nose is hanging out of the mask, and then sanitize once that mask is fitting nicely. Okay, so as you can see, wearing a mask is not very complicated. Some very simple steps that you guys can take to make sure you're putting your masks on and taking them off properly. Remember, make sure you're sanitizing your hands initially before putting your mask on. Grab the mask by the ear loops. Make sure that you swing it around. Put your chin and your nose into the mask. Put the ear loops on. You can make sure then that the nose is fitting snugly and comfortably. Once that's done, re-sanitize your hands and you can go on about your day. Taking it off, as we discussed, grab the mask by the ear loops, remove it from your face. You can put it onto a clean surface or fold it onto itself and put it in something similar to a Ziploc bag to try to keep it safe. Okay, so that wraps it up for this week's episode of DxTx. Until next time, please stay safe and remember to wear your masks properly. Thank you and take care.